To BYD. From this session, this is our next lecture of social issues for UPSC preparation means 2023. So let's begin. So in this lecture we start violence against women. So in violence against women, any act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, or mental harm or suffering to women and girls. So, what are the factors understanding the violence against women? So, first factor is individual factor. So then community factors, and violence against women increased 16.3% in 2021. So first factor is individual factors. Inequality in relationships, use of drugs and harmful use of alcohol, internalized misogyny. Misogyny, that means the violence against women or misunderstanding against women. Second factor is community factors, that rigid patriarchal gender norms, high level of poverty and unemployment, low presence of women in public space, popular culture promoting toxic masculinity and marginalization, etc. And violence against women increased by 16.3% in 2021 against 2022. So what are the challenges in India preventing violence against women? So first challenge is issues related to implementation of laws. So overburdened judiciary because of high cases pending in judiciary from lower court to the higher court, like in lower district court, high court, as well as the Supreme Court. Low conviction rates, that the many cases registered, but on them very few cases are convicted because of no punishment for no convicted person or there or convicted by the court, and ambiguity in law and definitions, because of ambiguity in not clearly define the law and definitions of the any rules, regulations, as well as laws, and apathy among police force and healthcare workers. So the conflict between healthcare workers and police force, that not understood each other's feelings as well as their work. So poor governance system in this regard, and few female police, underreporting, stereotyping, and gender bias in justice system. So these are issues related to implementation of laws. Next is societal issues. So in societal issues, acceptance and tolerance of violence in society, hard to detect violations, existence of extrajudicial courts, lack of attention to multiple and intersecting forms of discrimination. Next is other issues. So amendments made to the criminal law are not comprehensive. Paucity of data available on crimes against women. Lack of safe infrastructure. Yes, so these are the main challenges in India to prevent violence against women. What are the way forward to solve these problems that reducing the violence against women in India? So first is Criminal Law Amendment Act 2013 and 2018 and new IT rules to deal with cyber violence against women. Progressive Supreme Court judgment like the privacy that BN Sri Krishna Committee was constituted in 2017 and give judgment and legalize the 377 against the LGBTQ community. Next is establishment of National Commission for Women and schemes or initiatives like Mahila Police volunteers, Ujjwala scheme or clean and LPG in Ujjwala Yojana in Ujjwala scheme that LPG cylinder provided to the poor women. And next is Nirbhaya Fund that under Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme. Next is ratification of international conventions, so that are like Convention on Elimination on all forms of discrimination against women and state level initiatives that Himmat app by Delhi Police, Samman campaign by MP Police, Pink Protection Project by Kerala government, etc. So these 3 to 4 initiatives launched by the state government of India and other reforms can be solved to reduce the violence against women, such as National Human Rights Commission suggested that the women completely freedom from completely free from violence against any type of uh, discrimination against women. So next is sexual harassment. So sexual harassment, why this news all about? So Supreme Court took the recognition of serious lapses and uncertainty in implementation of Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment Act 2013 during the during the Nirbhaya Fund Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign was launched in 2010-2012. After that, the Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment or POCSO Act was enacted by the Parliament. So next is what are the news, what are the sexual harassment news all about. The cognizance came in backdrop of a newspaper survey revealing only 16 out of 30 national sports federations in the country had constituted internal complaints committee mandated under 2013 Act, Post Act 2013. Types of sexual harassment at workplace. So these are the types of sexual harassment at workplace. quid pro quo. So what is mean the this type of sexual harassment implies seeking sexual favors or making sexual advances in exchange for benefits at work. Next is hostile work environment. In hostile work environment, it involves uninvited and unwelcome conducts or behavior, physical, verbal, non-verbal, or visual, which create work environment that makes it uncomfortable for a worker to be there. So these two types of sexual harassment at workplace. Next is sexual harassment at workplace. The cost of sexual harassment at workplace. Individual for individual psychological suffering, behavioral change like isolation, stress related physical and mental illness, professional losses like foregoing career opportunities. Next is employers or enterprises. Low productivity, hinder progress and innovation, poor image of company, yes, and in society that women undermined access to high status, legal and criminal justice expenses, long-term rehabilitation cost. So these are the facilities for women at workplace that can provided by the company, that will have to provided by the company. And next is sexual harassment of women at workplace prevention, prohibition and redressal act or post act 2013 was enacted to make workplaces safer for women. So act broadened and gave legislative backing to what are known as the Visakha guideline laid down by the Supreme Court in a judgment passed in 1997. So Visakha guideline was enacted by the Supreme Court through a post act. No. So these are Visakha guidelines which are laid down by the Supreme Court. So what is Visakha guideline? So defined sexual harassment, imposed three key obligations on institutions: prohibition, prevention and redressal. And third is mandated institutions to establish a complaints committee. Yes, complaints committee. What are key provisions of Post Act 2013? So definition of sexual harassment was given in this Post Act. Sexual harassment includes any one or more of unwelcome acts, means whether directly or by implication, physical contact or advances, a demand or request for sexual favors, showing pornography, etc. So these are the characteristics under the definition of sexual harassment, that any these points, in case any these points would happen, this sexual harassment case would be charged on the convicted person. And definition of workplace: any place visited by employee arising out of or during the course of employment, including transportation. Who are aggrieved women covers all women, irrespective of their age or employment status, and whether in organized or unorganized sectors, public or private. So all women are covered in this definition in this Post Act 2013. So grievance, what are grievance redressal mechanism? GRM. So complaints committee would be set up, that internal complaints committee is mandatory in every private or public organization that has 10 or more employees. So this have to remember, 10 or more employees, they have powers similar to those of a civil code. So power would be guided by this committee equal to the civil code. And district officer to constitute local committee. District officer to constitute local committee to receive complaints from organizations with less than 10 workers. Yes, if less than 10 workers are working in company, then district officer to constitute local committee if complaints is against the employer itself. Any aggrieved victim or her legal heir may file a complaint for ICC to take action within 3 months from the date of the incident. Next is conciliation. The ICC may, before Internal Complaints Committee, may before inquiry and at the request of the aggrieved woman take steps to settle the matter between her and respondent through conciliation. So, inquiry. So, Internal Complaints Committee may either forward the victim's complaint to the police, or it can start an inquiry that has to be completed within 90 days. So within 90 days inquiry have to conducted or have to forward it to the complaints committee. Other provisions against Other provisions action against the perpetrator. So ICC can recommend to the employer to take action against the perpetrator. Appeal against the decision of ICC is available in court within 90 days. So ICC may recommend to the employer that it take action against the false complaint, identity of the woman respondent, witness, any information on the inquiry, recommendation and action taken should not be made public. So what are the challenges in preventing sexual harassment at workplace? Dismissive attitude of organization. So organizations often lack comprehensive and well communicated policies and procedures to address sexual harassment. So lack of women uh, lack of women's speech at these well communicated policies of the organizations. Reporting barriers. Potential repercussions such as job loss, social stigma, damage to family reputation, and so on. So these are the inferior. These are the reporting barriers for women to not to culture in their society. Challenges of cross-cultural and global context. Cultural norms, language barriers, and variations in legal definitions can complicate prevention efforts. And what are shortcomings in the POST Act? So gender is specific and protects only women. Silent on the incidents of sexual harassment perpetrated by the same sex. So not mentioned in post act that only for shortcomings in the post act means protect only for women, and not mentioned clearly by that women is harassed or sexual harassment is being happened by the same sex or the heterosex or homogeneous sex. Action by the employer is based on the service rules of the company. based on the service rules of the company that may vary from company to company. So these are shortcomings of the POS Act. So what are the way forward to tackle these problems? Zero tolerance policy will have to adopt should be adopted within code of conduct for employees to show companies firmness against acts of sexual harassment. Establish ICC in all the organizations regardless of size or sector. Establish ICC as mandated by law. Effective grievance redressal mechanism would be set up by the company to ensure fair investigations and appropriate actions against perpetrators. Regular training for all staff and management to enhance understanding of the term sexual harassment, and amending the POS Act 2013, a gender neutral law to ensure safety and justice for all, including those of non-normative gender identities. Address the incidents of sexual harassment cases involving same-sex defined objectively action against the perpetrator. So these are the way forwards that can tackle the sexual harassment against women at the workplace. And broadly, we mention that the POS Act of 2013, its challenges, its way forward, its shortcomings. And next is Nirbhaya Fund. So this is the this Nirbhaya Fund was created in 2012 that uh, some perpetrators sexual harassed brutally sexual harassed a girl in Delhi case. So this Nirbhaya Fund was created by the government in this regard. So established in 2012, dedicated to non-lapsable fund, enhancing the safety and security for women in the country. One-stop centers making safety devices, setting up fast-track courts. Fund management by Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance. So this is the factual information that fund management would be regulated by the Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Women and Child Development is nodal ministry to appraisal the recommend proposals and scheme. Okay, so funding pattern means that 90% for states with difficult terrain, means Himalayan and other northeastern states, 90% for state and 90% for center and 10% for the state, and 60 is to 40 for other states, and 100% for union territories. Five initiatives received 100% funding. So this is the funding pattern between the union government and state governments. So what are the challenges in utilization of Nirbhaya Fund? First challenge is interministerial cooperation, that tussle between ministerial cooperation regarding the fund approval of a scheme. Absence of proposal. Women's safety from important ministries and departments. Oxfam International. Oxfam 2021 released this reduced allocation. For example, allocation for Sambal scheme under Mission Shakti is 10% less than the combined allocations for its constituent scheme in the previous year. So Sambal scheme constitutes one-stop center scheme, women helpline and Mahila police volunteers. Limitations in design, like utilization of fund to construct a routine infrastructure and excessive focus on urban crimes in public spaces. Next is inadequate fund. That need for fund for preventing violence against women has been estimated at rupees 10,000 to 11,000 crores. Lack of transparency in expenditure, unforeseen disruptions due to instances like COVID-19 pandemic. So lack. So, what are way forward to tackle this Nirbhaya Fund? Enhance center share as well as annual allocation to the fund. Establishing benchmark for violence against women and girl services, including numbers per population and consistent take for availability and quality at the district and sub-district level. And next is incorporate feedback for local communities, police, NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau, psychologists, etc. to assess the overall scenario regarding women's safety and identify effective measures that can be taken. Ensuring transparency through a robust mechanism for constant monitoring. Improving the design by incentivizing interventions in areas such as education, health, sanitation, etc. For instance, Kerala in general budget 2021-22 has allocated resources for medical care for women victims of violence, gender awareness in police stations, etc. So these are the way forward regarding the Nirbhaya Fund that cannot rely on the negative perspective of the governance. The marriage age of women. So prohibition. So recent news is prohibition of child marriage or prohibition of child marriage amendment bill 2021 proposes to raise the legal age of marriage for women from 18 to 20 years was introduced in the Lok Sabha. So what are more news that new Niti Aayog in December 2020 by the Central Task Force headed by Jay Jaya Jetli. Okay, recommendations about the increment of the age of marriage of girls as well as boys, not boys but girls from 18 to 20 years. So this is the historical perspectives of the age of marriage in India at colonial era. Age of consent act 1891, that girls age for marriage is raised from 10 years to 12 years. Child marriage Restraint Act 1929, popularly called as Sarda Act. Act girls marriage uh, girls girls age is 14 years and boys age is 18 years. And post colonial era, that is Special Marriage Act, the Hindu Marriage Act, and the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006 fixed the minimum age of marriage for girls at 18 years and boys for 21 years. And in Islam, the marriage of a minor who has attained puberty is considered valid. What are reasons for child marriage? So, what are reasons of child marriage? Ineffective implementation of law, poverty, skewed sex ratio, cultural factor, and patriarchal sorry uh, patriarchal attitude patriarchal attitude. So key highlights of the draft bill. The draft bill would amend the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. What is aimed to this bill? To bring women on a par with men in terms of marriageable age. overriding all existing laws, including any custom, usage, or practice governing the parties pertaining to the marriage. Definition of child. Child means a male or female who has not completed 21 years of age, and different personal laws of various religion or marriages will be superseded. So these are key highlights of the draft bill of Child Marriage, Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Act, Amendment Bill 2021. Next is Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. So these are the features of Prohibition of Child Marriage, that 18 years of age for women and 21 years of age for boys treats underage marriages as valid but viable. Okay, 18 years of oh, okay, so both these earlier 18 years are for women and 21 years for men. So these are the features of Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006. Next is positive aspects of Raising the Marriage Act. Gender neutrality, enhanced awareness about the repercussions, women empowerment like women education, women health, and women economic conditions improved. And criticism, that average age to marry for women is 22.7 years, largely due to enhanced education, and there is uh, no need of law to raise the age of child marriage to age of marriage for women. Despite the age bar of 18 years, child marriages continue to prevail in India, and this is a reality. May not address the social and cultural patriarchal norms that hinder women empowerment. Safe, Safest age for pregnancy is 20 years to 24 years, roughly those marrying at the age of 18 years and higher. Fear of abuse of law against marginalized communities such as the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, making them lawbreakers. Contradicts with other laws. So, a person upon reaching the age of 18 would vote but could not exercise the right of choice to marry. As per 2013 Criminal Law Amendment Act, age of consent for sexual activity in 18 years. The Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Amendment Act 2016 allows adolescents in the age group of 14 to 18 years to work except in hazardous occupations and processes. So these are the concerns or criticisms regarding the raising of women's age for marriage. What are the way forward? Two suggestions for this Prohibition of Child Marriage Act Amendment Bill 2021. So comprehensive public awareness campaign be charged out to encourage social acceptance of the decision, empowerment of women through access to education, sex education be formalized and introduced in the school curriculum, targeted approach for reducing child marriage. Girls belonging to socioeconomic weak families are forced into child marriages, and providing them financial support will automatically raise the age of marriage among women. Activative way of ensuring gender neutrality. In 2010, the Law Commission of India had suggested decreasing the minimum legal age of men from 21 to 18 years and recommended keeping both the genders' minimum legal age to marry as 18 years. So these are way forward. Next is surrogacy. So This is the uh, next is surrogacy. So time is going up that surrogacy uh, will discuss in the next class. So keep going and keep practicing. Many questions about the social issues, and you can start your preparation for next 2024 with this platform. So I will discuss each and every topics related to the social issues and all those topics which are relevant for GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3 as well as GS paper 4 along with the optional as anthropology. So thank you for watching and keep practicing and very well subscribe and like the button, and please comment if you have any query. So thank you very much.